Hello, I'm Eric Mead, Executive Chef at Mount Carmel East Hospital, and today I'm going to be showing you how to prepare a Parmesan corn polenta with roasted vegetables. So the first thing we want to do is we want to have our oven, which you see behind me. I have that preheated to 400 degrees, and I have my vegetables right here. I have a bell pepper, cherry tomatoes, yellow squash, zucchini, and I have half of a large onion. If you have one medium onion, that'll work as well. Then I have a sheet tray right here for my vegetables. So the first thing we want to do, we want to cut all of our vegetables roughly the same size. So I'm going to take my onion first, and I'm going to go ahead and cut off the top. Okay, I'll go ahead and peel that. Just want to get like that first layer or two. Okay. What I like to do, I like to leave our stem on, that way it holds our onion together. And what I want to do is take and make some fairly large slices up to the stem. And because we're going to be making like a large to medium dice on this, then I'll turn that sideways and I'll just get a nice dice on this. Okay, go pretty close to the stem, get rid of our stem. Now I can put that on my sheet tray. I just want to break them up just a little bit. Nobody wants too much onion on their fork, or maybe you do. Okay, it's good enough. I'll take my bell pepper. Okay. Easy way to cut a bell pepper is we're going to cut the top and the bottom off. So I'll cut my bottom. You don't want to cut too far. And then I'll just cut just below the stem on the top. Get that stem falls right out. Okay, we'll move our top and bottom to the side. Then we want to take our pepper core and just want to slice down one side. Then I like to lay it on its side and just run my knife through the ribs. And that gives you a nice straight cut. We can go ahead and discard that. Now we want to cut some chunks roughly the size of our onion. So with this, what I can do is I can just run the knife right down the middle and then just cut some chunks, about a medium dice. Okay. Do the same with our top and bottom. This recipe is great because you can actually, we're using yellow squash and zucchini as the base here, but you can use whatever vegetables you have on hand. Carrots will work well, you know, when you're into the fall and winter months. Root vegetables will work well. So, you know, just, you know, clean out your pantry, clean out your fridge, use whatever you want in this, and it will go great. The flavors will still be there. Okay, we'll take our zucchini, top and bottom, come right off. We're going to slice this in half. And then we're just going to, on a bias cut, we're just going to cut half moons. So I like to just face my zucchinis kind of diagonally and just run through. You don't want these to be too thin because you want them to hold their shape. But we'll cut that just like so. Okay, our zucchini's done. And we're going to do the same finally with our yellow squash. Cut down the middle, lay flat, turn diagonally. Just let your knife do all the work. All right. So now take our yellow squash, put it on our sheet tray. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to drizzle a couple teaspoons of olive oil right over that. Then a couple pinches, maybe about a teaspoon each of salt, kosher salt, and black pepper. Okay. Then after that, almost forgot, let's add our cherry tomatoes. Okay, great. So yeah, just get your hands in there, just get those mixed up, get them all coated with the oil, salt, and pepper. And we are going to throw this in our 400-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. Just want to get these nice and roasted, and that will give us time to get our polenta made. Okay. Okay, welcome back. While our veggies are roasting, I went ahead and I dropped in a couple tablespoons of butter with some frozen corn. So you can use fresh corn if you have it. Frozen corn works great. You can use canned corn in a pinch, but I'd stick to the fresh or the frozen. So as you can see here, it's sauteing down nicely. You know, our corn is browning a little bit. I just want to do this for about 5 minutes, just until our butter starts to brown around the corn and we get a nice little bit of color on our corn. So I think we are about there. All right. So what I have here, I have some vegetable stock, about 2 cups of vegetable stock, and I have 2 cups of water. I went ahead and mixed those together. And we are going to add this to our corn, and we're going to let it come up to a low boil. Okay, so our broth mix has started to boil. So I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. We don't want it at a rolling boil. We just want a low boil. So we'll turn that down. And now we can start adding our cornmeal. So with polenta, you can use any kind of cornmeal you have. I have yellow cornmeal today, but it works just as well with white cornmeal. Or you can even buy polenta specific cornmeal from the grocery store. So what we're going to do, I want to make sure you have a wire whisk, and we're just going to add this in slowly, mixing the whole time. If I drop this whole thing in at once, it's going to clump up, and I'm not really going to like the results. So I want to go ahead and get it stirring, get our liquid moving around. And while I'm constantly stirring, I'm just going to pour in gently our cornmeal mix. All right. So now, this is all active time here, so you want to make sure, because you don't want your cornmeal to burn, you want to make sure that you are constantly stirring. So we're going to do this for about 3 to 5 minutes. Adjusting our heat as we go. If it's, boiling too much, just turn it down a little bit. Or if it's not boiling at all, obviously turn it up just a little bit. So I think I can afford to turn it down just a touch. And while you're whisking like this is going to stop it, like I said, from clumping up. If I just let this go, everything will bind together. And we're going to have a really difficult time, plating this. So we really want to go here, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes or until it's nice, smooth, and creamy. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes. I'm really liking what I see here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn our heat off. And I'm actually going to remove it from the heat so it will stop the cooking process. And now what I want to do, I want to go ahead and add our Parmesan cheese. This will make it extra creamy and give it a nice flavor. So while mixing, I'm just going to go ahead and add our grated parm. Let that incorporate. And polenta is one of those dishes that, you typically only see in restaurants because of the fact that, you can't let polenta sit too long because it will clump up on you. But to get it like this texture, like it needs to be served directly off the stove onto your plate and, right to the table. So we don't want to waste too much time here. So now, I like the way that looks. We're going to add a little salt and pepper, just a little bit of taste. You don't need much because that Parmesan cheese actually has plenty in it. All right. We'll get that mixed in. Now we'll check in on our vegetables. All right, I think we are good to go. Okay, so I think we are good to plate. Okay, we're going to take our polenta first. And we're going to top it with our fresh roasted vegetable mix. Feel free when you're making this recipe to include any kind of seafood was really good with this. Also roasted chicken, grilled chicken. This is a very versatile dish. I personally love it with shrimp. Or you can eat it just like this as a vegetarian dish, and I think you'll be impressed. Okay, here we are, folks, our corn polenta with our roasted vegetable medley. Enjoy.
Hi, my name is Amy Shea, and I'm one of the nutrition faculty with Mount Carmel College of Nursing. In this video, we're going to discuss the Parmesan corn polenta with roasted veggies that you just saw prepared by Chef Eric. I wanted to highlight how amazing corn is. I think sometimes corn doesn't get a great reputation as a vegetable, but it really is a nutritional powerhouse. Remember that corn is a whole grain. So in other videos, we've discussed what that means, what a whole grain is, but it's really going to provide the most nutrition, and it's actually featured as the whole grain of the month for October. So depending on when you're watching this video, maybe it's October. But corn is a whole grain. But something to remember though, if you're using cornmeal, so this recipe does have cornmeal, if the label says degerminated, then that's not a whole grain. So you want to make sure that you're getting that whole grain cornmeal. So you can look for that on the label of whatever product you choose. Another thing to remember is that popcorn is a whole grain. That can be a delicious snack. Just don't overload it with too much salt and butter, right? Other nutritional facts about corn: it is a good source of fiber, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, selenium, and thiamine, which are all very important nutrients for our overall health. Corn is also quite high in beta-carotene and vitamin A and other antioxidant nutrients and carotenoids, and those can help protect our vision health and help fight inflammation and other important aspects of our health. And recent research has actually found that corn is high in what's called resistant starch, and that's something that can help keep us full longer or increase satiety, and it can also be really good food for our gut bacteria. So corn can help keep our gut bacteria happy and healthy. Another thing, if you cannot have gluten because of celiac disease or some other condition, corn is a gluten-free food. So lots of benefits to consuming corn. I hope you enjoyed this absolutely delicious recipe. And remember too, when you're choosing the roasted veggies to go with this, you can choose whatever you want, right? Look beyond just our recipe and think about whatever roasted veggies you have on hand. But I hope you enjoyed this delicious corn polenta.